Dr. Erik Simms, Triple Chrown Chiropractic. Now, one of the things that makes us different here than a lot of other chiropractic offices is we actually do a lot of muscle work. The reason we're doing the muscle work is because we're breaking apart adhesions and scar tissue that forms that comes from inflammation. Anytime you have inflammation, that inflammation is going to be white blood cells and a mucus-like substance. So a lot of people recognize it as clear snot. And what happens is those white blood cells come in, eat the damaged tissue, and they'll sink like coffee grounds down, forming a thin layer of scar tissue. The thing about that is that scar tissue will start to build over time. So that can cause the muscles to wrap around each other, and that will cause knots, or that will cause you to have adhesions in areas that will actually limit us from adjusting you properly. So what we do when we're adjusting somebody is we're doing the lower back area. We're gonna be working on the muscles of the glutes, where we'll actually kind of take the knee and we'll go back and forth just like this. And then what we'll do is we'll have them lay on their back. We'll actually hit this area, which is called the psoas. The psoas is your major hip flexor. And the thing about it is when this muscle is tight, it will cause pain across the low back in a belt-like fashion. When that happens, that then will cause the glute muscles to tighten as well. That also may cause the muscles that go up the back to tighten a little bit. And that will then cause you to feel back pain, even though it might be coming from your hip flexors. This often is a problem when you have somebody that sits for a long time, like say at your job at a desk, or if you have to travel a lot on planes or cars. So the other muscle that you'll see a lot of times that we're dealing with is going to be the TFL, and that's going to be this muscle right here. When this muscle gets real tight, that is actually going to not only cause pain that wraps around the hip and goes to the front, but it's also going to go down the leg to the knee, and that's going to cause the knee then to have knee pain. Now, for a lot of people, as we're working these muscles at first, it's going to be a little tender and sore. And when we do that, the first couple times, it might feel a little rough, so we go a little bit lighter, and then we get a little bit easier each time. Then what we do, we come right here, we bring them just like this, there, and just adjust the joint. It's pretty easy to do. Now, what we also want to do is we want to line up the joints so that we're actually following the way the joint moves properly, okay? And because of, depending upon the patient, their hips might be off a little bit, as in the case here, it allows us to actually shift the hips so we're getting them in the proper direction and the proper way to adjust it. Now, when we're dealing with shoulder issues, we're going to be dealing with the fact that a lot of times shoulders, necks, mid-backs, they're all connected to each other. And the thing is that your arms kind of hang off your body and are really only connected to everything through the actual clavicle and the muscles that attach. So that's why the muscles will pull a lot. So we'll work the shoulders here on the rhomboids, just like this. And what we're doing is we push into the muscle and we pull it away so that we actually break those adhesions by actually moving the muscle through the range of motion. We then go onto the 4 rotator cuff muscles right through here. So we're going to be dealing with your infraspinatus, your teres minor, your teres major. The thing about these muscles is that they make up the rotator cuff. Whenever you have rotator cuff issues, that's going to cause them to tighten. The other issue is that if you have any shoulder pain that's on the outside of your shoulder, the muscles will start here and actually connect here. Then we're going to come in and work the traps, and we're going to be working the levator scap as well. One thing that a lot of people will have issues with is if they have pain going down their arm, or if they have numbness and tingling down the arm, that's normally coming from the neck. But you can have adhesions in the shoulders or in the arms along the way. So if somebody has maybe carpal tunnel, or if they've been diagnosed with having, like radiating shoulder pain or frozen shoulder, that's why we break up the scar tissue so that everything can break apart. We can get it all to heal properly, and then we get a better, deeper adjustment. The other thing is if we just adjust you and we don't go back and actually work on the muscles, ligaments, and tendons, then everything is just going to pull right back to where it was before, because neurologically your cerebellum is going to think that that's the proper position. But by breaking apart the scar tissue and the adhesions and doing adjustments, we're able to get the actual neurology to change so that the body believes that the proper position is where it should be. One of the muscles that's really sore on people that do a lot of desk work, computer work, or if you're doing any kind of manual labor, is going to be this area right here. The reason being is because this is called your subclavicular. This muscle's a big one on actually controlling shoulder pain and will give a lot of people a lot of tightness. And if we don't work it, then what's going to happen is the shoulders will continue to pull forward and never actually relax. This right here being the pec minor and the pec major. So as we go through, we don't really go by a certain count. What I actually go by is the feel of the muscle as I'm working it. As I feel it start to loosen, then we actually stop from there. Now, when working on the neck, we're gonna come in here, we'll take, and we'll come in and work this area right here. The neck is gonna be tender a lot of times. So we're not gonna put a ton of pressure into it because we wanna make sure that you can handle it, not want you to tighten up. As we bring this here and we bring it across, it allows us to move everything, get in there, get those muscles that actually bring your neck forward. The problem is a lot of people, when they're texting these days, are looking down all the time. That causes these muscles to be in a tight position all the time when they're holding. So what we need to do is we need to actually get those muscles to relax, loosen up, breaking up the scar tissue that's in them. And then what we do, go in and we adjust the neck. We do a rotary adjustment and we do a thumb technique here, because if there's any problem or any kind of miss or issue, my thumb is going to get injured, not your neck. Right here, let that fall just like that. Right here, that come across, bring that chin down. Okay, good. There are two ways we can adjust the mid back. We can either press down on the mid back while the person's laying on their stomach, or we can have them actually sit up. People will have different ways they prefer it just because of the fact of how it feels. But in this instance, we're gonna go ahead and do basically a rollback maneuver, just because the fact is that's easier on her, and by the way that her spine is shown, it actually allows us to get a better adjustment. Fall back. And one more time. Good. Okay guys, that's an adjustment and what it looks like here at Triple Chrown Chiropractic. We hope to see you soon.